There are many ways for ore deposits to be formed, and one of it is through hydrothermal processes. In a hydrothermal process, groundwater convecting through rocks that was heated by the intrusion of magma dissolves metals and carries them away. When the water cools down, it can precipitate ore minerals. Typically, ores formed by hydrothermal circulation precipitate either as disseminated ore, meaning that the ore minerals would disperse throughout the host rock, or as vein ore, meaning that the ore precipitates along with quartz and other minerals to fill the cracks. Here is a step-by-step process. In the illustration, we have a magma reservoir and it will supply the magma chamber. And because of too much heat below, it will cause the material laying on top of it to swell and maybe even form volcanoes. Along with it are, of course, the formation of fractures too, in the aims of the melt trying to escape to the surface of the earth. But of course, intruding magmas are defined to be melts that unsuccessfully reach the surface. So now, bear in mind that fractures below the Earth's crust are already formed. Following the cycle of water, those that have condensed into the atmosphere will go back down to the surface of the Earth and will penetrate through the multiple layers of bedrocks until some of it comes in contact with the magma or the magma chamber itself. Now, because this water is heated up, the concept of convection current states that cold material goes down and hot material rises up. Since this water is now heated by the magma, it will of course rise to the surface. And it will eventually find its way through these cracks. And the hot water, termed as hydrothermal solution because it now carries with it the dissolved minerals as it tries to reach the surface. Eventually, this water will cool down, and as it cools down, it will start losing those minerals that it carries along with it and starts dropping them off in a process called precipitation. Now, as those minerals precipitated, here is a zoomed illustration of the crack in the rock surrounded, of course, by its host rock, with the hydrothermal solutions moving through it. As the hydrothermal solutions would move through the cracks, it will eventually cool down and starts depositing the minerals like scales on the side of the crack. And as time went on, assuming that the process continued, the crack will eventually shut itself off somehow until such time that this crack would completely fill up with minerals. And you now have a vein type of ore deposit. This would generally be quartz, various metallic sulfides like pyrite, chalcopyrite, galena, things like that, and gold and silver. Another way you get ore deposits from the hydrothermal solutions is if they're moving through a porous bedrock with holes in it spongy enough to allow the water to move directly through it. Then it can start precipitating throughout the entire body of the rock, and you get what's known as the disseminated ore deposit. This will be much higher tonnage and much lower grade in general than a vein deposit. For last, this is how your basic gold and silver or metallic ore bodies will form.